Assalamu alaikum.
If you want to watch new videos on our channel, then subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Like the video and share it with your friends. Moreover, comment below for your suggestions. Now let's come to today's video. Topic: Manner of articulation. Manner of articulation refers to how speech sounds or phonemes are produced based on the involved articulatory organs or the airflow through the oral cavity. Here are some examples of different manners of articulation. 1. Stop or plosive. Stop or plosive sounds are produced by temporarily blocking the airflow completely, and then suddenly releasing it. This creates a brief burst of sound. These sounds are also known as stops, because the airflow is completely stopped before being released. Examples:
In,
pop. To produce this sound, you fully stop the airflow by closing your lips together, then release the air suddenly by opening your lips. This produces the sound
in,
bat. Similar to
p.
you fully stop the airflow by closing your lips, but this time, you also use your vocal cords to create a voiced sound. When you release the airflow, it produces the sound
b, t,
in, top. To create
t,
you block the airflow by pressing your tongue against the roof of your mouth, and then quickly release it by retracting your tongue. This produces the sound
t.
2. Fricative. Fricative sounds are produced by partially obstructing the airflow, causing a turbulent noise or friction. The airflow passes through a narrow opening in the mouth, creating a distinctive hissing or buzzing sound. Examples:
In,
food. To make this sound, you bring your top teeth close to the bottom lip, creating a small gap. The airflow is then allowed to pass through this narrow space, causing the friction and producing the sound
v,
in, van. Similar to you place your top teeth against the bottom lip, but this time, you also use your vocal cords to create a voiced sound. The resulting sound is
v,
in, sit. For the opening between your tongue and the roof of your mouth is narrow, allowing the airflow to create turbulence and produce the hissing sound. In summary, stop or plosive sounds involve completely stopping the airflow and then releasing it abruptly, while fricative sounds are created by partially blocking the airflow to create a turbulent noise. These concepts are fundamental to understanding the production of various speech sounds in different languages. 3. Affricate. An affricate is a type of consonant sound that combines a stop and a fricative. It is produced by briefly stopping the airflow, followed by a slow release with frication. This means that the sound starts with a complete closure of the vocal tract, causing a momentary pause in the airflow, and then transitions into a slow release with a continuous, turbulent airflow. One common example of an affricate is the sound
j,
in the word church. To produce this sound, the speaker starts by making a complete closure with the tongue against the roof of the mouth, blocking the airflow. Then, the tongue is released, allowing the airflow to pass through a narrow gap between the tongue and the roof of the mouth, creating a fricative sound. This combination of a stop and a fricative gives us the affricate
j,
Another example of an affricate is the sound
j,
in the word judge. Similar to
j,
this sound begins with a complete closure of the vocal tract, followed by a slow release with frication. In this case, the closure is made with the tongue against the roof of the mouth, and the release produces a fricative sound. 4. Nasal. Nasal sounds are produced when the airflow travels through the nasal cavity while the mouth is closed or partially obstructed. This means that the sound is produced by allowing the air to pass through the nose, rather than solely through the mouth. One common example of a nasal sound is the sound in the word man. To produce this sound, the speaker closes their lips, blocking the airflow through the mouth, and allows the air to pass through the nasal cavity. This creates a nasal sound, as the air resonates in the nose. Another example of a nasal sound is the sound
N,
in the word net. Similar to
M,
this sound is produced by closing the mouth, specifically the tongue against the roof of the mouth, and allowing the air to pass through the nose. Lastly, the sound
in
the word sing is also a nasal sound. In this case, the back of the tongue is raised towards the soft palate, creating a closure at the back of the mouth. The air is then directed through the nasal cavity, producing the nasal sound
in.
In summary, affricates are consonant sounds that combine a stop and a fricative, with a brief stoppage of airflow followed by a slow release with frication. Nasal sounds, on the other hand, are produced when the airflow travels through the nasal cavity while the mouth is closed or partially obstructed. 5. Approximant. Approximants are sounds produced by narrowing the vocal tract but maintaining a more open airflow. They are considered to be in between vowels and consonants in terms of articulation. Unlike consonants, which involve complete closure or obstruction of the airflow, approximants allow for a freer passage of air. One example of an approximant is the sound
W,
within the word wet. To produce this sound, the lips are rounded and the back of the tongue is raised towards the soft palate, creating a narrowing in the vocal tract. However, the airflow is not completely blocked, allowing for a continuous and smooth sound. Another example is the sound
L,
in the word lot. To produce this sound, the tip of the tongue is raised towards the alveolar ridge, the bumpy area behind the upper front teeth, creating a narrowing in the vocal tract. Again, the airflow is not completely blocked, resulting in a continuous and resonant sound. Similarly, the sound
J,
in the word yell is an approximant. This sound is often referred to as the Y sound in English. It is produced by raising the body of the tongue towards the hard palate, creating a narrowing in the vocal tract. The airflow is not completely blocked, allowing for a smooth and continuous sound. 6. Lateral. A lateral is a specific type of approximant where the airflow is obstructed at the center of the mouth, but not at the sides. This means that the sound is produced by allowing the air to flow over the sides of the tongue, while the center of the tongue blocks the airflow. An example of a lateral sound is the
L,
in the word light. To produce this sound, the tip of the tongue is raised towards the alveolar ridge, creating a narrowing in the vocal tract. However, instead of completely blocking the airflow, the sides of the tongue are lowered, allowing the air to flow over them. This results in a distinctive
L
sound that is characterized by the air passing laterally, sideways, around the sides of the tongue. In summary, approximants are sounds produced by narrowing the vocal tract but maintaining a more open airflow. Examples include
V in wet, L in lot, and J in yell.
lateral approximants, such as
L in
light, involve obstructing the airflow at the center of the mouth while allowing it to flow over the sides of the tongue. 7. Tap or flap. A tap or flap is a quick movement made by an articulator, such as the tongue or lips, against another articulator, causing a brief interruption in airflow. This results in a percussive sound. An example of the tap or flap is the
R
sound in the word butter. In this pronunciation, the tip of the tongue taps against the alveolar ridge, the ridge behind the upper front teeth, quickly and briefly, creating a short interruption in the airflow. This tapping sound is what gives the
R
sound its distinctive quality. A tap or flap can also be seen in some dialectal variations of English where the
T
sound between vowels is produced as a tap, as in the word better, pronounced as beer. 8. Trill. A trill is an articulatory technique where the airstream is interrupted repeatedly in a rapid and distinct manner, producing a series of vibrations. These vibrations are created by an articulator, such as the tongue, rapidly moving back and forth in contact with another articulator to create the trilling sound. An example of a trill is the rolled R sound in Spanish. The tongue is positioned against the alveolar ridge, and instead of simply tapping or flapping against it, the tongue is rapidly and repeatedly vibrated against the ridge, producing the distinctive rolled sound. This sound can be heard in words like perro, dog, or criatura, creature. Another example of a trill is the Scottish
double R
sound heard in words like rabbit. In this pronunciation, the tongue rapidly trills against the alveolar ridge, creating a series of distinct vibrations similar to the roll
R
in Spanish. In both cases, the trill adds a unique and recognizable quality to the pronunciation, making it distinct from languages or dialects that do not feature trilled sounds.